Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Make It Good. I'm Alex, and today is the last day, as of recording, of the Barnes Noble Criterion 50% off sale. At first, I did not think I was going to get many pickups. Money was a little tight after the whole halfway to Black Friday sale that Vinegar Syndrome did. And then also, I did go ahead and bite the bullet and became a midway subscriber for Vinegar Syndrome. So between those two, I spent a lot of Vinegar Syndrome money that I was really intending for Criterion. Luckily, I came across like 4 or 5 gift cards that I forgot that I even had. So I ended up putting those mostly towards everything that I picked up this month at Barnes & Noble. And then a little bit more for that I had budgeted that I could do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So the first grouping of movies are all European films or films about Europe, that kind of thing. And we're going to start off with a real classic, and that is Romeo and Juliet. This is, of course, the Romeo and Juliet that a lot of people saw in high school. I'm one of them. I don't know if they still show it. I can't imagine that they do. But I saw it in high school. And I remember this was kind of where I started understanding Shakespeare a little more. I'd known the stories a little bit here and there, and I've always meant to go back and watch this film. Was hard to find, but I'm glad Criterion finally put it out this past February, and so I picked it up for the sale. The next film that I picked up, the European film that I picked up, is a more recent film, and that is Petit Maman. This is the Celine Sciamma film about a young girl who, kind of a magical realism type movie, a story where a young girl is having troubles dealing, mostly with her mother, who's having troubles dealing with the death of her mother. So there's a very mother-daughter sort of generational film. And the young girl walking through the woods comes across the 8-year-old version of her mother right before she was about to have a major surgery and dealing with those issues at the time. And it's really just a beautiful tale. It's not overly dramatic, but it's peaceful. It's very kind of introspective, not in the way a Malick film is introspective, but just, the feelings everyone is dealing with and how they communicate those feelings. I had a really great time with this. I have not seen the My Life as a Zucchini or Courgette, depending on where you're seeing this film. Which is a feature-length stop-motion animation film that's on the disc. So you actually get 2 movies for one, which is really fantastic. I do want to try to check that out in the next week or so. But so far, this release was great, and I absolutely love this movie. All right, so the last film of the sort of European films is one that I had not heard of, but I actually was interested in just because Peter Capaldi is in the film, and that is Local Hero. It's kind of the, big time person comes into a small town trying to throw his weight around, but ends up falling in love with the people. Real kind of classic story. I love movies like that. Just kind of sit down, relax, and enjoy it. But this was one I had never heard of, and so I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. I'd seen a lot of places where I hadn't really seen any negative reviews of it, so I'm very excited to check it out. This would be a really good film, I think, to watch with Vicky, but there we go. So Local Hero. All right, this one I'm having kind of trouble connecting it with any of the other movies. I'm sort of mixing it with my next batch of films, which are all sort of Americana films, but that is One False Move. This is a movie that I had never heard of, starring Bill Paxton, Cinda Williams, Billy Bob Thornton's in it as well, and this was a Carl Franklin film who I believe did Devil in a Blue Dress, which I love that movie. But One False Move, another crime tale, but it's just sort of this lost missing crime movie that I don't know anybody who's heard of this. I don't, but the trailer for it and the images I saw on Criterion's website looked like it was a movie right up my alley. Kind of had a Coen Brothers feel to it. But I'm really excited to check this one out. And I'm a big fan of Bill Paxton. So, yeah. All right, so officially in my sort of Americana films, I wanted to go ahead and start with a Western, because what's going to be more Americana than a good old American Western? And the one I picked up was 3:10 to Yuma. I knew I at least wanted to get one Western, and this one actually came highly, highly suggested by Alex over at Cinema Inspired. So I went ahead and I was like, yeah, I knew I was going to get this at some point, so I went ahead and I threw this on my pile for that day. And I'm really excited to check it out. I actually would have checked it out today, but we had some plumbing work going on, and they were going to be really loud, so I wasn't able to see it today. But I will check this out shortly. I'm very excited to watch this one. This is one that I've been meaning to see for a while. Moving along with Americana, we come to an Albert Brooks film, and that's Lost in America. Ever since I saw Defending Your Life, I'd been wanting to see this film. And they had not had it at Barnes Noble for a while. I had it in my list in the last flash sale earlier in March. But again, there were too many other things I wanted, so this one got bumped off. I'm finally glad to check this one out. This is another movie I would really love to watch with Vicky. And it's just a couple who are traveling. They want to just hit the road and give up their bougie lifestyle, basically, because I saw it in a movie. And you know, it's just basically a comment on the 80s and kind of the material lifestyle, and how people get attached to that, and kind of the complications when you try to break out of it. It seems like, based on some of the things I've seen, or maybe the complications of being too attached and not really knowing how to break out. I don't know, but Albert Brooks so far has always been a hit for me. From anything that I've seen anyway. And so very excited to check out Lost in America when we get a chance. Kind of still Americana, kind of still road movie, of course. We've got Thelma and Louise. I did pick up the 4K, which comes in this really nice digipack. And as you know, I love a digipack. I don't know what else is to say. I mean, this is a classic, popular movie for a reason. It's the first one that Ridley Scott has in the collection, which is really interesting. And I have only really seen this in bits and pieces, kind of collectively on television with commercials. And so I'd actually like to just sit down and watch it, sans commercials, in one go and not in bits. So Thelma and Louise, that's why I picked it up. All right, and the last of my Americana films is one that Vicky's actually been wanting to get for a while, and I've been very interested, and that is My Own Private Idaho. Neither of us have seen it, but you've got River Phoenix, you've got Keanu Reeves. You know, I don't know what else to say there. I mean, you've got obviously two great leads in here, but it does look like it's a really interesting love story, and you know, people kind of dealing with their own personal feelings towards each other, and you know, clashes of personalities. So really interested to check this one out. It's a Gus Van Sant movie as well, so you got that going for you. All right, after Americana, we are moving into high school movies. I picked up a fair deal of high school movies, which I think the only Criterion one I've had is Dazed and Confused. So it was nice to kind of branch out and get a few more. I guess you could put Rushmore in there. Rushmore's kind of a high school movie. But the first one that I got is Election. That's the one with Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Broderick. This was directed by Alexander Payne. This is one that I've heard talked highly ever since it came out in, what, 99? 99. Never seen it. You know, everyone I know who's seen this loves this movie. So I finally decided, hey, if I'm going to see it, I might as well get the Criterion. And so I did. Here it is. Okay. Okay, the next two high school movies I have seen, the first of which is Amy Heckerling's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Huge cast, a lot of classic, hilarious moments, some cringy moments too, if you know what I'm talking about. But overall, it's kind of like a really good overview of a year in high school, which is something I didn't realize until we watched it the other night. I kind of always felt like it took place over a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious it is the whole year. Great film, classic, absolutely, you should pick it up. And I love this artwork. I love this sort of collagey 80s, you know, checkerboard, splashes of color. It's a good cover. And of course, I couldn't pick up some high school movies without picking up The Breakfast Club. John Hughes' masterpiece, obviously. Great cast. Everyone's talked about it. It's on a lot of the top 25 80s lists going on right now that Tim over at Tim Talks Talkies did as a community challenge. Must watch as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that's The Breakfast Club. All right, and this is a movie I didn't really know where to categorize, so I just kind of stuck it in the middle. That is A Matter of Life and Death by Powell and Pressburger. This is a film I've been wanting to see ever since we picked up Red Shoes, and Vicky and I watched that. I knew that this was going to be the next Powell and Pressburger film that I wanted to check out. Just all the imagery from it was so imaginative, so theatrical. I love the story, dealing with life and death, and romance and holding on to love. But I haven't seen it. I just know a lot of the themes that are going on, and so I'm really, really excited to check out A Matter of Life and Death as soon as I can, really. So there you go. All right, and the July sale is always the time of the year when I try to pick up some horror movies from Criterion. There are a bunch in there that I don't have. The first one that I picked is Carnival of Souls. This was a movie I saw a long time ago, a really bad transfer of it, and I didn't get it. And I've been itching to see it ever since. I don't know what kind of mindset I was in. Maybe I just wasn't into black and white movies at the time. I don't know. But I picked it up and I watched it recently. And oh my God, this movie is way more creepy than I remember it being. There are moments I'm thinking of the people coming out of the water. Just the moment when she's looking down the stairwell and she sees that mysterious man walk by, that creeped the hell out of me. This is a wonderful, wonderful Halloween movie, and it's short too. It's only 78 minutes. And so this is a great one to pick up for Halloween, whether you're doing it on the sale or not. Just get it. It's great. The next Halloween movie that I picked up is Vampire. This is another fairly short movie, 73 minutes. Black and white, silent film. This might actually be the first silent film that I have in my collection. And it's a great one. It comes with the book Writing Vampire, which has the screenplay, I think, or the working screenplay. But it's also got the story that Vampire is based off, which is Camille, which is a part of short stories in a larger book. The clips I've seen of this online, just some of the imagery, I knew I really wanted to check this out. That and The Phantom Carriage are two that I was very interested in, just what they were doing back in the 20s and 30s. So yeah, Vampire, really looking forward to checking this out. Don't know if Vicky will be into it, watching a silent film, but I'll check it out in October if she doesn't, so. All right, sticking with the Halloween theme, we're actually moving into Asian cinema. The first one that I have here is Onibaba. This is Kaneto Shindo's film of, I don't know, it's like a haunted mask. All I know is that mask on the cover is so creepy. Let me see if I can get a good look without the glare. Look at that mask. That is terrifying. So, yeah, just that imagery on that cover alone. You see some of that with some of the images on Criterion's website. So yeah, this is a movie. It deals with like murder and crime, and then demon masks kind of coming in there and messing things up for people. I don't know. I'm really excited. I love a good ghost story at Halloween, so this sounds like a great one. All right, speaking of ghost stories and also speaking of Kaneto Shindo, we have Kuroneko, which has that really awesome cover, kind of metallic, with the spirit woman kind of disappearing on there. I don't know. This looks really great. Dealing with like spirits haunting and plaguing these samurai, and I guess like a lot of really, really good ghost tales. It's got a personal story attached to it with a guy fighting his own demons. So I'm very excited to check this out. I'll probably watch these back to back, both this and Onibaba, just because, my God, what a great double feature. It's going to be a hell of a night. All right, moving away from Halloween movies, we're going on to weirdly boat movies, which is then going to segue right into my director categories. So this first boat movie is Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, if you got a chance to see this recently, you know all about this. All I knew was the trailer, which was entertaining on its own. Knew it was going to deal a lot with class divides and what happens when your money basically means nothing. Your wealth and status, that kind of thing. So I was very excited to pick this up. I did watch it. It was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. A lot of folks I've been hearing have not really enjoyed the third act of this film. I thought it was fine. So the first act just kind of meeting, a couple in conflict, and then moving on to the yacht, and then the third act being everything after that yacht scene. I think maybe quite possibly, maybe people were just really into the trailer, because that's pretty much the whole second act. And then that third act really switching things up pretty egregiously. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was a natural course for the film. I didn't have a problem with the third ending at all. As a whole, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, check out Triangle of Sadness. It's pretty intense, though. So get ready for that. All right, my second boat movie, which is also the first of my director movies, we're going with Wes Anderson, and that is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Saw this in theaters when it came out. Have not seen it since. I remember enjoying it pretty well, but I have been trying to pick up all of the Wes Anderson films in the Criterion Collection, and this was my second to last one to go, which means the next one was my last one. So let's get into that. All right, and my last Wes Anderson movie is Bottle Rocket, which was his first movie. Yeah, I saw this years ago, on DVD. I think I just rented it one day randomly. I didn't even know who Wes Anderson was at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a fun movie. It was the last one because it's his first one, which kind of makes it one of the weakest, I guess, but still really strong for a first film. Plus, it was the debut of Luke and Owen Wilson, and you get a couple of different actors who show up in other Wes Anderson movies. So it's kind of really nice to have this first one to check out, and just kind of see where he started and where he was going. So that is why I picked it up. That's why I wanted all the Wes Anderson movies, just to kind of have them together. And just watch his catalog grow. So yeah, Bottle Rocket. Check it out. It's fun. All right, moving along to my second director that I just wanted to pick up more of their films is Wim Wenders. And I picked up two films of his, the first of which is The American Friend. This is a film I didn't really know what I was in for. I'd seen some positive reviews. Didn't look too much into it because I do like to be surprised when I watch movies for the most part. But The American Friend, if you're not aware, is a man who is dying. He has cancer. They go back and forth. They say cancer, they say blood. Like he's something's going on with his blood. I don't know. He's dying though. He's seeing the end of his life. And he insults an art forgery seller. And as a result, he gets wound up in this world of crime where he's an unwitting assassin. It's all about whether or not he's going to do it because he wants to make sure his family's taken care of after he dies. Except before he even knows he's wrapped up in it, just one act of kindness really starts confusing the art seller, played by Dennis Hoffman, Ripley, I think his name is, and suddenly there's conflict on all sides. Not only is he, might have to be an assassin, now Ripley's like, I feel bad about having done this to this guy and wrapping this guy up in this world. And that's where the real crux of the movie starts taking place. And so it's just very interesting to see this, these two men kind of come together and how they're, it says friend in the title, but I hate to say friendship in this because it's they're just forced to be together, and there's an understanding between them, I think, which I think is more important. But it was a fantastic movie. I'm really glad I picked it up. I would definitely suggest anybody check it out if you have the chance. All right, the second film that I picked up is one that I've been heavily excited for. I was going to pick up the Blu-ray version, and then they came out with, of course, the 4K, and that is Wings of Desire. This movie just looks beautiful. I love the idea when you take a supernatural element like angels and then take kind of a realistic look at what they may be feeling as they're interacting with human beings. I don't know too much more about it. I guess it's kind of a love story. Yeah, this is one I really want to check out with Vicky. I think this would be a good date night kind of movie. Some of the screenshots that I've seen of this film look absolutely stunning. And Peter Falk is in it. So I'm very excited to see Peter Falk in a movie just randomly inserted somewhere. So there you go. All right, so on my YouTube channel, I did put out a poll because there were 3 directors that were nowhere in my Criterion collection. That was Stanley Kubrick, Akira Kurosawa, and Martin Scorsese. And ultimately, the director that won out was Akira Kurosawa. So he was the focus director where I was going to absolutely make sure before anyone else I got one of his films. However, I did end up deciding to get one Scorsese film, and that is, of course, After Hours. As soon as I saw this, the trailer for it, this was not only a movie that just looked very interesting to me, but it's a film I was pretty sure I had seen. And when I watched it, it did feel familiar, but I don't know exactly where I would have seen it. But it's a fantastic movie. It's a very good one bad day or one bad night type of movie where it's just everything keeps going wrong. I've got a real soft spot for movies like that because I really don't like it when my life goes wrong, but it's entertaining to see it happen to a fictional character. So After Hours, great within that genre. This was a fantastic movie. It feels like a very different movie from some of the other Scorsese films out there. I've heard that from some other folks, so I don't even know if this feels like a good starter Scorsese, but I got it now, and I enjoyed it. All right, so the man of the hour was, of course, Akira Kurosawa. He was the one who won the poll that I put up. And I ended up getting 3 films of his. The first of which I'm going to show you is actually the last one that I picked up. They didn't have it on my first trip to Barnes & Noble, but later on they restocked and they did actually have it. This is one I've been very interested in checking out, and that is Kagemusha. This is the film about a peasant who is brought in to impersonate a warlord who is dying or has died. This is one of the later Kurosawa films, so it is in color, and some of the stills I've seen from this movie look absolutely stunning. The only Kurosawa film that I've seen out of his color films is Dreams. I saw it in film school, I think a long time ago. And I remember being very impressed by that movie. I recently purchased Ran. I'm interested to check that out. I just haven't had the time to watch it. And now I have Kagemusha. And those were the 3 movies that I really wanted to check out for the color era of Kurosawa. So very excited to check this out, but I've got 2 more movies to show you. And the second movie by Kurosawa is Ikiru. So Ikiru obviously is that film, very emotional tale about a man near the end of his life, looking back on it and you know, what was important to him. I did not realize that this movie was as early in Kurosawa's career. I thought it was maybe later, but no, apparently it was a lot earlier. 1952 was when this movie came out. So I'm very interested to see, you know, just kind of experience this film and how impactful it ends up being. I know there's a remake of it. I have not seen the remake, but I definitely wanted to check out Ikiru first. That's why I made sure to pick this one up. The third and final Kurosawa film that I picked up is Seven Samurai. I mean, how could I not? They actually had 3 copies more than I've ever seen at Barnes & Noble, so I'm sure they just stocked up for the sale. But it's number 2 in the collection, so it kind of feels like a must-have for any Criterion collector. But this is a film I've always wanted to check out, especially for its influence on Western films and you know, Westerns in general, like Magnificent Seven being the most popular example. So yeah, have to check out Seven Samurai. It's one I've always meant to check out, much like some of the other Kurosawa films that are out there. So now I have it. Now I will check it out. And I know Vicky was very excited to check this out. So we'll probably make this another date night movie. So that ends all of the single releases that I picked up at Barnes & Noble. And I ended with directors for a very specific reason, and that is because I also picked up the Pasolini 101 box set. This is an absolutely beautiful box set. It's got 9 films in it. I did do kind of an overview looking into what was going to be in the box on my channel a little while ago, so I'm not going to go into too much there. But one thing I do want to do is go ahead and open it up real quick, show you a few things in there, and give you kind of my initial thoughts. So the first thing obviously is it has this really nice hard box set, comes right out, and then you've got this really beautiful book, but then you open that up and you have all of the films are in kind of the cardboard sleeves, which some people love, some people hate. In general, that doesn't bother me. The only thing that is kind of a problem is that these are really, really in there. They're very hard to get out. I don't even know if I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try to. So they're in there. You don't have to worry about them. There we go. Sliding out, but they will. They are kind of tucked in there very, very tightly. So, I mean, I could hold that upside down, and I'm not worried at all about them sliding out, which I guess is a pro, but also you're kind of fighting to get them out, so you got to be careful. And the other thing that I kind of felt this was more of a art direction problem that I had. I like to real quickly just sort of look at the backs of a lot of the films, see how long they are, and decide, do I have time for that movie or not? And it would have been really nice to have those on each page, maybe settled off onto the corner or something, but you have to go through the book to get the running times. Not a major issue, obviously, and it's a really beautiful book. A lot of information on the movies, but it would have been real nice just to, at a glance, have that information. It's not on the back of the information sheet that was, shrink wrapped with the box. Again, a real minor complaint, but yeah, I think that would have just been a preference of mine to just have those right on the pages so I can flip through and go, how long is that? Oh, okay, that long. I don't have time for that. So yeah, but again, I'll just flip through the book and find them. Not a big deal. But overall, it's a really beautiful set. I'm very happy I got it. It's going to look really nice on my shelf. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet. I've had a huge flux of movies coming in, both from Criterion and Vinegar Syndrome. So had a lot to watch. But yeah, so I'll get through it eventually. I would like to do a video in the future once I've watched all the films on there and just kind of give my thoughts on him. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do a director retrospective in the future. If you're interested in that, me putting in some time and effort into one director, it would take obviously some research on my part as well as watching all the films. But if you're interested in that, let me know down in the comments. That would be really helpful just to see if anybody, suggest a director. If there's a director you'd like to see me talk about, I'd be more than happy to do that. So, but for right now, I have the box set. That's the majority of his films, so he seems like a good choice. Good choice. Interesting director. Very complicated person. So that's the end of the haul video. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off now. But let me know down in the comments anything that you bought this month, or did you buy anything that I also got and want to talk about it? Furthermore, are there any movies that I got that made you think, hey, you would probably like this movie? Let me know. I like those comments. Those are good. But as usual, watch good movies, eat good food, and take care of yourself. Someone else if you can. Make it good. Take care now.